you guys are good to go. We're good. Okay, awesome. Well, good to see everybody. Thank you guys so much for being here today. Appreciate all you guys do covering our program. It means a lot. Disappointed in the outcome. Obviously, last week thought our kids, thought we played hard. Too many mistakes down the stretch. Too many missed assignments on offense. Game one, you kind of never really have a good, necessarily a good feel as we talked about preparation-wise of how the opposing team's going to play you, and they, decided to play us in a lot of umbrella coverage to stay on top of our speed, which, was a common theme last year. We made a lot of adjustments over the course of the offseason to combat that. Unfortunately, due to, some injuries at certain positions, personnel-wise, it's a little difficult for us to get in the formations and some of the things that we wanted to do to them to manipulate that. And then the score started to get, a two-score game, and so we had to get in a little throw mode, and so that, that kind of put us behind the eight ball. But I thought our kids always fought. I thought defensively, we played really hard. I think we had 6 sacks, numerous TFLs. I mean, defense was a really good sign. Even like that first drive, they drove it 60 yards, and I truly think that maybe a year ago, I think that might end up being a touchdown. And it's nothing against last year's team. I just think the mentality of this team is a lot different. Instead, it turns into a field goal. We kind of bowed our neck. And I thought that was a really good sign. I'm very disappointed. Again, I'm. You guys know me by now. I'm not one of those people. I'm never going to – we lost the game. It is what it is. We lost the game. But I am, however, disappointed in some of the things that transpired. Our defense played their freaking tails off and hearts out, and there's no telling. Again, this ain't when you say stuff like this, it's just on my heart, But it's not. I'm not saying this in a complaining way or a why woe is me way. I'd say it even if we won the game, but it's really frustrating when our kids play their tails off, and it's very clear. That their guy ran out of bounds. It's very clear. It's evident. I sent 3 clips in, and because I'm gonna fight for this program. I don't care. I don't care. They can find me. They can do whatever. I don't give a crap. At the end of the day, I'm tired of people treating UTEP like we're a doormat. And I know we got to go earn that respect, but I'm sick and tired of being look down. Oh yeah, of course they did. Of course that guy's running wide open because it's UTEP. Of course that guy made that play because it's UTEP. I'm sick of it. I've never, I've been a head coach for a while, and the level of disrespect we have, and the level of, I don't appreciate it, and we got to earn it. It's on me as a head coach to get it right, to earn that respect, to where people, officials, because there's human bias and human deal. It's a real deal. And you got a 35-year-old head coach, and I'm going against a legend Bronco Mendenhall across the way. I get it, man. I'm just a D3 guy trying to make it. Like, I get it, But don't punish my kids, for that. And I was we sent 3 clips in, and to their credit, they admitted that the one before half should have been an offensive PI. They admitted that. Should have been. It's clear as day. Pulled us down and running wide open, and they scored a touchdown. But that's DPI on us, But it's funny how that goes. It's just it's really frustrating, and so I'm frustrated. I'm not. If the kid steps out of bounds and they call it out of bounds, do we still get the stop? I don't know. If that kid doesn't score a touchdown on before the half, do we give up one up the next play? I don't know. So you can what if it to death, but I don't know. I'm not real smart, but that's 14 points, and they beat us 28-16. What's 28 minus 14? What's 28 minus 14?
12.
Is that right?
That's 2016.
What was it?
2016.
28-16 was final. So 28 minus 14 is what? 14, right? And what did we have?
616.
Oh. It's frustrating. And again, it's not it's at the end of the day, it's on. I truly, I truly, it's on us. We got to get better. There's a lot of things we got to do to get better. So I don't know. I don't know if the outcome of the game changes or not. To be honest with you, give credit to Utah State. They played their heart. There's a lot of plays on tape that they out hustled us and played hard. They deserved the victory. But it's just frustrating. Those are frustrating. I thought our kids played hard, but that's in the past. We got to regroup and we got to move on. Got to play better. Questions?
Coach, what do you do to kind of improve the running game offensively and score more points?
Yep. Got to have a better plan for the way defenses are playing us. Umbrella defense, putting 3 out safeties on the roof and just saying you're not going to beat us deep, forcing us to run the ball. And we're going to have to make, until we make somebody pay running the football, people are going to play us that way. And so to be more detailed with that, sustaining blocks on the O-line. And then when we did sustain blocks on the O-line, running backs missed cuts. And then when the running backs did make the right cut, or were going to make the right decision, the quarterback made the wrong decision. And so, I mean, I can't tell you the amount of missed assignments. We have to gel better on offense. And I talked to the team yesterday, very frank and very bluntly. But this week it's all about talking about getting 1% better every day. Like the minors got to get better every single day, every single week. I care less if we're playing Alabama this week or whoever. We got to get better. And and if we keep doing that, eventually we'll gel and we'll start to settle into a rhythm. But we were off the same page way too much. Plays that we ran since January. I got to coach them better.
How do you assess Malachi's first start?
I think he was efficient. I think his completion rate was really good. There are some things that cannot happen as a starting quarterback that happen, but that's I think I said this when we named him the starter. We're going to go through some growing pains with some typical stuff that when you get out in front of a live crowd and you're the guy every snap, having to play that you're kind of like a boxer in a 12-round match. It's not just trying to, as a quarterback, you can't just be good for a quarter. You got to be good for all 4. And so having that focus endurance to be able to sustain the focus level that it needed to take. I think he was exactly what I thought he'd be in terms of his calmness. He never got rattled. He was focused. I thought he played efficiently when. For the most part of the game, he probably wants that throwback on the interception, but played efficient, missed a few reads, where we got to get his eyes in the right spot on some stuff. But I overall pleased. I think that as a whole offense, we have to gel faster. We have new pieces at receiver. You probably saw how many receivers we played and rotated, and they're all really good players. Like the deal is, it's not a lack of talent, but being on the same page at the same time. And that's part of our job as coaches, is to go back and assess what can we do well, what can our kids handle well, and then get them in those positions. And that has been like our sole focus point going into this week.
How do you feel the response has been at practice after that loss from the guys and the morale and like the motivation going into week 2?
Yeah, I feel good. I mean, I feel like they came out today, had a focused practice, and it was really, they were really engaged. And yesterday, we showed. I showed a simple cut up. It had a slide that said "not the standard," and I had about 15 clips that this is not the way we're going to play football here. This is not the standard. And if you choose to continue to play this way, then you will not play here. And then there was a slide that said the standard. This is how we play here at UTEP. Josh Rudolph running down on Death Dealers first snap, knocking the heck out of that ball carrier. Ball's on the 20. Udoka Ezeani playing physical as all get out, denting edges, and then making plays. Elijah Baldwin hunting the football. Ashad Hall hunting the football. Dante Thompson hunting the football. A freshman, Nick Henry, running down on Iron Dukes at the missile over and over and over and over again, wearing a dude out and making a play at the end of the game. Josh Hancock, our snapper, getting down there along with Noah Bosford, just crushing the ball, and then Hancock running down there and making a big-time tackle. That's the standard. That's short, not to just bash the offense, but let's talk about the good the offense did. Our short yardage was the best that it's ever been since we've been here. Like when you freeze the tape on short yardage, those guys are playing like my height or even lower. I mean, like you got Mark Robinson, 6'7", playing like he's 5'3" on those snaps. That is a great sign that we can, like, there was even a time they called a time. I don't even know how they got that timeout in on 4th and 2. They saw our formation, we changed it, and we still got the first down. And so we did it in a numerous different amount of ways. I think that goes back to our strength increasing. I think that goes back to the buy-in we have with the sled and moving our feet on contact. I'm just so proud of our offensive line in the short yards. I told them that yesterday. I said, hey, what if we took the physicality that we saw on those short yardage runs and applied them to every run? we have to have a short yardage mindset and everything and keep our feet moving. And so I think they'll respond, well from that. So I showed them that cut up, man, and I'll tell you what, man, it was very, again, honest conversations, good and bad. It's not when you lose a game, people think it's just all bad. It ain't all. There was a lot of good that happened on that field for the Miners on Saturday. We need to. So I thought it was big for me as a head coach to point out where the standard wasn't met and where the standard was met. So first time playing together, they got the visual of how we should play the game of football and how we will play the game of football in the orange and blue. So I thought to their credit, I think they did a great job responding yesterday and today. We threw a lot at them today, install-wise and all that stuff, and they attacked it, so I was proud of them.
What do you see from UT Martin?
Yeah, physical team, really good program. They've won a lot of conference championships. Very well coached, very disciplined, physical defense, and they're going to get after you on special teams and on offense. They're very explosive. They play action shots you. They push it down the field. They're a really good football team. We're going to have to be ready to play.
How important is it for you guys to deliver a result on Saturday, knowing it's your home opener, and what that could do for you moving on the rest of the way?
I think anytime that you have the opportunity to play in the Sun Bowl and play at home, I think it's very, very critical for our program to play well at home. I think that's something I've said since I've gotten here that is paramount, that has to happen, that we need to play well. But we need to focus on having a great week of practice. Today we had a really good focus level today, and tomorrow we need to go out and have another great focus level. And we got to do a great job of taking those mistakes that we saw on tape and going and correcting them, and that's what matters. I mean, you can want, in Division I college football, you can want things as much as you want. You can want it, but are you willing to put in the work? We had some big frank conversations about this yesterday with the amount of missed assignments we had on each side of the ball. Is like how bad do we want to correct these mistakes? Are we willing to come up here during our lunch break? Are we willing to come up here and draw some things up, get with our coaches a little more? What are we willing to do to change the process, tweak the process in order for the outcome to be different? And so we just got to stay grounded and being focused on getting better each day instead of focusing on Saturday. It's so important we play well. We all know that. Like we shepherd that burden, we carry that, we know that, but we can't focus on that. The focus has got to be on, now we got to have a great situation on Wednesday tomorrow, and we got to focus on executing, because that's what wins you football games.
Against the Cowboys, I think they held them for 5 punts for 11 of their drives, including 3 and outs. You coached against Coach Simpson, I believe, 2 times. What do you know about his defense going into this one? Obviously, familiarity. Brandon Butcher joining your staff over the offseason. What do you know about their defense in that first game? They've
always had a brand of physical football. I think he does a great job of playing to like the strengths of that program and the city. It's a blue collar place. It's a place that has been super successful, and he always has those guys playing with an edge and playing really hard. When you turn on the film against Oklahoma State, I mean, it's evident. A team that was not intimidated, a team that came in with a swagger and they played really, really well against Oklahoma State. So it's going to be no different. They're going to come in the Sun Bowl and they're going to play extremely hard. And it's our job to play our brand of football. It's our job to be on the same page, execute, and go play fearless, fast, physical football.
Who were your award winners this week?
Yeah, so thanks for asking that, Brett. I appreciate it. The Luke Laufenberg Hustle Award winners, obviously, as you guys know, just kind of a reminder, we never give out players of the week on a loss, but guys that hustle that we felt exemplified that standard I was talking about. On the offense, Blue Blazers, Ivan Escobar. On the touchdown pass, if you guys will go back and look back at the touchdown pass that Malachi threw to Kenny early in the game, Ivan Escobar is going against their nose guard, and man, the nose guard gets the best of him, man, and he kind of gets back on his heels and gets high, and man, he fights and gets the refit. We call that championship edge, and he fights for the refit. That pass doesn't get off if he doesn't do that. And so those are the unsung heroes that the common eye may not see, but that pass doesn't happen if he doesn't strain on that. So I was really proud of Ivan, and he had a heck of a game. On the Orange Swarm, this guy was all over the field. Udoka Ezeani absolutely played fearless. I mean, he was just an absolute force. They ran a screen that was a really hard call for us to get out of, to read out of, I should say, and he read out of it, which we weren't sure that, you know, he would on that, not because of him, but because it was a very hard call that we had, and they called a screen to it, and he read out of it and was right there to plaster the back, but he was all over the field. And then we fence Josh Rudolph and Nick Henry. You know, Josh Rudolph's our starting Mike, and he runs down as our missile on Death Dealers. And he did it all night. I mean, he ran down with violence. He played with violence. I thought he played physical in the backfield. Another guy I want to mention, he didn't win the award, but another guy that was just on the cusp was Micah Davey. Micah Davey was all over the field, man. Our linebacker core played as good as advertised. That's a really good group. I'm very excited about them. And our defensive line, I thought played really solid. Nick Henry, as I mentioned, if you kind of go back and watch the tape on Iron Dukes, he's our missile. He's every snap wearing their guy out. I mean, he's 20 yards behind the guy, wearing him out. One time they doubled him and he fell. And we always talk about a hot stove. You know, don't stand it ain't nothing good for you staying on that ground. Pop up. He popped up, man, and went and hunted the ball. And he didn't make any plays to that very last punt. He went down there and smoked the guy and got a tackle. As a true freshman, as a receiver, he could be, you know, sitting there, hey, man, I'm not getting the ball. I'm not playing much on offense. Instead, he's starting in his role, so he did a great job. And then our Devo players of the week, guys that gave us a great look all week and helped us on the blue offense, was Chad Warner, quarterback. He did a phenomenal job getting us ready. On the orange swarm, you know, a kid that came in late. We wish we'd have got him earlier, but just the way the recruiting and his situation worked out, he's come in, and I think he's going to come on and end up helping us. Mekhi Robinson, defensive lineman, man, he is. He gives us a true look for our O-line every week. And then we fenced David Wilson, cornerback, played with phenomenal effort. So I just thought that, you know, those guys did a great job during the course of the week for us.
You talk about the confidence you have now in Areola being able to go in there and hit that big field goal right before half.
Yeah, a lot of confidence. I mean, one of the bright spots of our offense, you know, we worked a ton of situational football, and that was very well executed by our offense. I thought Malachi and the whole offense was on the same page. I think I kind of alluded to this at some point prior, but we have a lot of you have your playbook, but then you have your situational playbook. Those are two vastly different things. And so we spent all time in fall camp and summer, you know, working the situational playbook. So when these scenarios come up, our kids are prepared, and man, they executed it flawlessly. We had a tag on that call to where it tells the ball carrier, like, hey, man, like, you know, time's running out. Don't you try to, like, if you watch Kenny on that play, Kenny got caught up and the guy's got his leg, and instead of fighting, he goes down. And he was you know, that if you go back and look at that drive, that was one of the few drives we had where we were all on one accord. We were focused. We kind of got lost in the process. We executed that call, and then our Steel Tigers unit was ready to after we clocked it, run out there and punch it through. Carlos is just, he's a very confident kid. You know, I really enjoy being around. He's very confident. Nothing bothers him. Very proud of him, for sure.
You guys went down 28-10. Shea Smith comes in as a change of pace kind of quarterback. How do you see his role evolving continuously?
Yeah. I think Shea, as I've said before, I think Shea is just, we got to continue each week to, you know, when do we want to work that in? Where do we want to work it in? Is it in the game plan or not? That's a week-to-week thing for sure, but he is, you know, and I told you guys this, like we rank those top 10 players on offense, and we feel like he's one of the most talented guys in the building. So it's our job to get him on the field, and credit to Malachi and our quarterbacks understanding that, you know, like just you know how talented of an athlete he is. We got to find a role and find a niche to get a spark. I thought it was an appropriate time. The drive did not go as well as we wanted to. I got to put him in better situations, and I got to fine tune those calls so they're just, you know, extremely finite, you know, so that we can go execute because he's a heck of a player. And you know, we definitely see that role evolving if the defense gives us things that we feel like we could take advantage of. But it's definitely a week-to-week thing. But in terms of, you know, we need to always try to, it's part of the game plan process is always, okay, does he have a role in this game plan? But he's a heck of a football player.
I guess it seemed like most of your passes, particularly in the first half when you guys were able to kind of do what you wanted to do, were either over 25 yards or under 5 yards downfield. Is that just
good
the way
call.
the defense is playing that umbrella?
Yeah, that's a really good assessment, Brett. You know, that's you know, the answer is yes, it is. And then the other piece is, you know, I've got to do a better job of having ways to find that sweet spot, in those curl windows and things like that. That defense is hard, man. I mean, they're just, they're I mean, they're going to play us that way. I mean, that's how people try to defend us until, we prove, we can run the ball effectively. And, at the end of the day, you got to take advantage of the high lows. You got to take advantage of the underneath and then the intermediate and the deep ball. Like you got to mix it up. And I don't think I did we did a good enough job of mixing the variety of that. But also too, give them credit. They had a really good plan, and they forced us to go underneath a lot. And that's part of that structure, making you earn it.
The defensive line had a lot of success. You had your two starters on both sides of your pass rushing position record multiple sacks. You had a guy come in and Elijah Baldwin at 1.5 sacks. What did you see from the D-line that you liked?
Yeah, they were part of about 2 or 3 clips on that cut up where the standard was, man, one of my favorite clips is the 3rd and 1 early in the game. Set a new line of scrimmage, coming off the ball. I just thought their ball get off and their just fierceness to not, like we always say, it's not a sin to get blocked. People got to, it's a sin to stay blocked. And man, I'm telling you, we had numerous guys like Elijah Baldwin on his sack. If you watch that clip, he jumps in the B gap and starts to rush the passer, and the back in protection, was scanning his side, didn't have anything. He scanned back, found Elijah, plastered him. So Elijah gets smacked, and he's got a tackle on him. And as opposed to Elijah say, okay, I'm done. He fights off that, tracks the quarterback. I was joking with him. He jumped like a wild banshee up, about to bat the ball. And then he comes back down on the ground. He's 6'7" and hawks the guy down. Like just to answer your question on the D-line, just the relentless pursuit of the football and the ball get off, I thought was awesome. And we're so, again, I give Coach Jones and so much credit, man. Our D-line coach, he brought in so much depth in recruiting, and we feel like we can rotate a lot of guys and be fresh. The positives of this game, and I told the team this, every single thing that happened on Saturday is correctable. Everything. As a coach, I look at it like, okay, are these mistakes correctable or not correctable? Is there just an extreme talent deficiency at this spot? Do we need to move someone over? Like, what is it? And I didn't see that. I saw a team that everything that was on tape is 100% correctable. And it's our job as coaches to go correct it, our job as players to go correct it. And man, I love the tenacity that we played with, especially on the D-line. And we just got to clean up the mistakes where we're out of gap, or clean up mistakes on offense where we have a misassignment. And it's all correctable mistakes, and I always think you make a big jump between game 1 and game 2. And I expect to make that jump, and now guys are settled in. They see where they did well, see where they did wrong, and they're making correct. And the thing I love about this team is they care. I mean, they care, man. It's like sometimes I got to do a good job, and I got to do a better job of like, hey guys, like, it's mistakes are going to happen. Like let's learn from the mistake and let's move forward. But we got a group that cares, man, and they want to be good, they want to win, and that's what I, to your question, that's what I loved about today. The focus level we had coming out was like they want to, correct those mistakes and be good. So, but the D-line I thought just played, ferocious, man. Played really, really intense.
Notice Cam Thomas had 16 carries. Is that part of an evolution of his role, or was that just kind of a one-game deal?
No, I think Cam, that it's those certain formations we have with the minor back, and if we feel like we have something there, it's all about he's one of our best players, and it's like, okay, how do we? Every week we better have a plan. How do we get him the ball? So I think it's a week-to-week thing, and I think that's hard for defenses because, week to week we don't line him up in the same spot. And I think Cam is that diverse of a player where you could put him at X, you could put him inside, you could mess around with him at running back, and he did. Again, I think there's a couple plays he wants back, back there. But man, and heck, I mean, I thought defensively, kind of turn into that with him. I thought our return units, we got to play better on our return units, blocking for him. Man, he's an elite returner, and we got to give him a little more space. However, our cover units I thought played excellent. Kind of speaking on that. But Cam Thomas, yeah, it's a week-to-week deal. What does the defense give us? How do we, what's the best way to get him the ball? And so he's just a very, that's that minor back position. He can line up anywhere.
Is Emery your short yardage guy now?
He definitely showed he can do it. That's for sure. But the cool thing is we got about 2 or 3 guys that I really trust in that short yardage. Just so happened that week that package that we had, we felt really strong about him running. But he put it on tape, man. I think that kid is a stud. He ran so physical, so hard. And if you notice on those plays too, how about Tyler Scott and Garrett Hawkins coming over from defense, to give us a lift on short yardage. I thought that was really, really part of Code Blue, being unselfish. And, Tyler has just been an absolute pleasant, just, I don't want to say surprise because we knew he was a good player, but just an unbelievable kid, and he does so much for this program. And Garrett Hawkins is just the most, fierce competitor, wants to win, unselfish, and he'll do whatever. We told him to go run a post route at X. He'd go do it with all he's got, and you just win with kids like that. And I thought that's why that short yardage thing. Roden Emery just, ran physical, shoulder square, and ran his feet, played really, really well.
Anything else for Coach?
Okay, thanks guys, appreciate you.
Thanks, Coach.
Y'all have a great day. What's up, Steve? Good to see you, my man.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.